So many women want to start strength training because they know all the benefits of strength training: bone health, muscle health, metabolism, hormones, all the stuff. But they don't want to get hurt. And I can completely agree that that is an important thing to be cautious about, because lifting incorrectly can absolutely cause injury. But I also want to say that staying kind of sidelined just because you're scared means that you are missing out on building the strong and capable body that I know that you want. So today I wanted to talk about the 5 mistakes that beginners make that actually get them hurt and how you can help prevent these things. Because a lot of these things are preventable. So I'm going to walk you through each of those 5 mistakes today. Mistake number 1 is, and this is a big one, and I actually, full confession, I got injured with this particular mistake. Mistake number 1 is going too heavy too soon. And this has to do with ego. You get this feeling like you should be able to lift more than you can, or you see someone else lifting and they look kind of like you, or they're a beginner too and they're lifting more than you, and you feel like, I can do it. And it happens because you're comparing yourself to other people. That's the bottom line. That's what happened to me. So I've never gotten injured in any serious way, but I pulled a inner thigh muscle one time because I pushed a squat out of an egotistical mindset. I was like, my body was like, no, you should stop. And I was like, no, I can keep going. And then I pulled my, a muscle on my inner thigh, and it wasn't bad. It was, I recovered from it well, but it could have been prevented if I had put my ego aside and said, no, I'm not going to compare myself to other people. I'm going to do what's right for me. And I wouldn't have gotten injured. So how we fix this is we start lighter, especially if you're new. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you guys how many young teenagers I've seen walk into the weight section of the gym and throw 2 45-pound plates on either side of the bar and try and squat 135 from the get-go. It is terrifying. And do you know why I suspect they do this? It's usually a pack of boys, about 13 to 15, and it's ego. That's what it is. It's ego. And I saw this one kid the other day. Oh my gosh, he squatted down and I was like, his back was rounding so much. It hurt my back just watching it. And that is what happens when you push. Now, I know you guys are not going to do things like that. And there's this healthy challenge level, which we're going to talk about in a second. But when you're really beginning, you need to start with lightweight. And if you go to do a program or you work with a trainer and they throw you in with heavy weight from the beginning, then walk away. That's what I'm telling you to do. You need to start light, get the form down, train your nervous system and your muscles to be able to handle the load with proper form before you load the bar and make it a challenge, or do heavier dumbbells or whatever it is. So what I want you to watch out for is if in the back of your mind you get this comparison thing and you start saying, I can do more, look at them. I could do, I could add 5 more pounds to this. When you start going there, you need to be cautious. Be cautious. And also physically watch out for if your form is starting to break. So you are, for example, if you're squatting and your back starts rounding, or your tailbone starts tucking, or your knees are caving in and your muscles aren't necessarily tired yet, that's a sign that the load is too heavy and you need to lighten it up. You must have good form before you add weight. So that's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 is not knowing the difference between discomfort and pain. So what happens is you feel something and you don't know if it's your muscles working or if you're actually getting hurt. And so you push through because you don't give up. which is a great characteristic to have, to not give up. But we need to use wisdom with it. So good discomfort is burning in the muscle that you're supposed to be working, fatigue. You feel this sense of I'm challenging myself. What is not okay? Sharp pains, stabbing pains, sensations like that, pain in your joints and not in your muscles, anything that makes you wince or feel off. If you have pain, you need to stop, reset, check your form, lower the weight. If it persists, then that exercise is not right for you today. And let me tell you guys, this is something that you learn to do day by day. As you progress in your training journey, which I know you all are going to, you will see that your threshold or your ability to tolerate a lot of weight or really challenge yourself can be impacted by sleep, by stress levels. When you're newer, it's less impacted, but when you're older in your training age, I'm not talking about just age, I'm talking about training age. If you've been training for 3+ years, you may notice that a bad night's sleep may mean that you don't hit all your reps for that day, which is really weird to me, but that's where I'm at right now. You just know that you have less wiggle room, and those things impact you more, which is okay. But what that means is you really have to pay attention to your body. And I can usually tell when I'm doing my warm-up sets before I do my big lifts, if this is going to be a day where I hit everything, or if this is going to be a day where, I need to be a rep short or 2 reps short, or maybe drop a set even, depending on what's going on in my life. And that's okay. That doesn't mean I'm a failure, because I'm going to be there 2 days later doing the same thing, and I'll get it next time. And I can tell even when I have a really primed nervous system for strength training, and in that day I'm able to do more. I was able to add more weight, or I was able to add 2 or 3 more reps when I was only supposed to be able to add 1. So it can be variable based on how you are feeling that day. And that's why I think it's really important to make sure that you're paying attention to your body. So that's mistake number 2, not knowing the difference between discomfort and pain. Mistake number 3 is kind of piggybacking on the one I just shared, but really not listening to your body, not having a sense of attunement or mindfulness with your physical body. So what this might look like is you're rushing through your reps without actually feeling the muscle work. You're using momentum to move the weight instead of controlling your muscles. You're recruiting maybe the wrong muscles, and that can really impact your results as well. It's not just about checking the box and hitting the weight amount and the reps. It's how you do it. Are you feeling the muscle engaging that you're supposed to be working? That is really, really important for results. You can't rush it. It's like there's no way around it. You're going to have to, you have to do it right in order to get the results, and that takes time. And people don't like that because they're impatient, but I believe you can be patient. So what we do here is we go slow. At the beginning, we really work on slowly teaching our body the proper form, and especially as if you're doing the lowering phase with the weight. So for example, when you're squatting, when you're going down, you're going slow so that you're really pushing that muscle to its limits. And you want to be asking yourself too, what muscle is actually supposed to be working right now? Because if you're feeling the burn in a place that's not supposed to be working, then probably you're compensating and you need to check your form again. If you can't feel something where you're supposed to, then reset and try again. Or maybe, there may be some other things that you need to do to work on. For example, the thing that comes to mind is a lot of women that I work with can't feel their glutes very well. And so we have to do some activation type work before, so that we're able to really teach their brain to recognize that they have a rear end that can be used. Isn't that funny? But it's so true. The other thing I want to say here in terms of listening to your body and creating that mind muscle connection is to video yourself occasionally. I know everybody hates videoing themselves in the gym, except for influencers, I think. But it's really valuable to look at yourself every once in a while. I have my clients do this occasionally. I'll have them send in a form video and I can look at it. If I'm concerned about their form, then I can help them with that. The other thing that I did when I was first starting out strength training was I hired a personal trainer for one session. Actually, I think we did two, but just a couple sessions, and I went through all of the lifts that I wanted to learn really well. So I went through the deadlifts variations, I went through the squat and overhead press and rows. And I think that was pretty much it. But it was really helpful for me just for those two sessions to confirm that my form was good. That was so valuable. So that's mistake number 3, is not listening to your body. Mistake number 4 is ignoring your core. This is really, really big. If you are not bracing your core properly when you are lifting weights, then you are at much higher risk of injuring your spine. Your core is kind of like your built-in weight belt. It protects your spine. And when you don't protect your spine and you lift weights, then you hurt your back. That is bad. Nobody wants to hurt their back when they're lifting weights. So what this looks like is you're taking a deep breath into your belly and you're tightening your abs. Kind of like the way I describe it to people is you're preparing yourself for someone to punch you in the stomach. So you're really tightening all that up. Inside my program, I actually have another she's a dietitian, Val Warner. She was on the podcast several months ago, and she teaches how to brace properly and safely inside of my program, so that my students can know exactly how to do it, because it's that important, you guys. And if you can't feel yourself bracing, then you may want to reach out and or feel your abs. You may want to reach out and see if maybe you have some pelvic floor issues going on that make it so that you can't really activate those deep core muscles that are required for strength training. So the key here is to make sure that you are bracing your core and you're bracing it properly. That really helps to protect your spine. Mistake number 5 is you are learning from random YouTube videos instead of actually credible sources. And what this means is you're watching influencer videos or maybe YouTube videos. A lot of them are really great, but a lot of them are not great. So what you want to look for is the person has a clear explanation of what muscles actually should be working. Some common mistakes may be highlighted. Cues, you should do this, you should do this, your feet should be here, your knees should be here, that type of thing. And an emphasis on control and not just moving the weight. Make sure that you work with a coach that has great videos on proper form and that can check your form in person or online. I offer that service to my students too, because it's so important to have good form. The last mistake, and this is a bonus because we already did 5, I'm going to do a bonus number 5 mistake, is training through distraction. So I talked about this kind of in the last episode when I was talking about how you can't be on for taking care of your kids in a nervous system sense at the same time that you're fully focusing on your form when you're lifting weights. And it's because of lifting requires focus. It requires your brain to do a lot of work to coordinate all your muscles together in a safe way. And being distracted can be a risk for being injured, especially when you start to lift heavier weights. If you are really trying to push it in the gym, or if you have a home barbell setup, then you're lifting quite a bit of weight and you don't want to be distracted. I think about this sometimes when I'm at the gym and I'm doing something really focused, like low reps and really heavy load. And there will be sometimes kids that will come in and they'll be like messing around in the weight section. And it makes me so nervous because I don't want my brain to be distracted. because I'm focusing on myself. Now, for most of you guys, you're not going to be lifting, 1.5 times your body weight squatting. Some of you might. I would love all you to get to that point because that would be amazing. You feel incredible. But the point is, you need to be able to focus on yourself because you don't want to get injured. So, last thing I want to say is you can do this safely. Absolutely. Being aware and taking the time and taking the ownership and really taking the opportunity to learn something, a new skill, slowly is going to set you up for so much success in your strength training journey. And it is okay not to be good at something at first. For a lot of women, especially women that are high achieving and they really like to be good at things, this can be really hard. It can feel really hard, but it is okay not to be good at something at first. And that's why you hire an expert to help you with it. If you need help with this, then reach out to me. You can book a free discovery call by clicking the link in the show notes, or you can find out more about my program, the Fat Loss Formula for Moms, by clicking the link in the show notes. And my program is designed to help beginners learn the fundamentals of strength training so you can do it confidently. And there's the whole added element of how to eat as well. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will talk to you next time on the Effective Weight Loss for Moms podcast.